people didn't get that this is the biggest single threat that, could disrupt our way of life, which, even having predicted that as a risk, I'm really stunned at how, tough it is to go through this. The medical cost, the economic cost, the psychological cost, everybody's lives have been completely upended. And that's not just the United States, it's almost the entire world. We're kind of figuring this out as we go, which, people are rising to the occasion. And, it's fantastic to see that.
Let's stop it there. What's up, everybody? Doriso here for another episode. That was Bill Gates. He was the world's youngest self-made billionaire and is known as the founder of Microsoft. He was on record for predicting a major storm was coming. We all know the name of the nightmare that's changing the world today. In the midst of a storm, you don't go outside. You go to the safest spot in your house and you hunker down. Once the storm has passed, you go outside to assess the damage and figure out a way to move forward from the damage that was done. People like normalcy. I know for me, I would wake up every morning, enjoy a nice cup of coffee, yes, Starbucks coffee, and then head to my local gym to start off the day with a workout. At this time, gyms are closed and my normal routine has been altered. Global uncertainty leads to fear. Fear is a natural human reaction. When there's uncertainty in the world, people like to eliminate some of that uncertainty. This is called zero risk bias. For example, buying toilet paper ensures that at least one act in your life is completely taken care of. It gives you some degree of reassurance. You might run out of something, but at least you have one of the staples that makes most people feel better. During these times when everyone is home, people get fixated on the news and every channel has a different perspective on what's going on during this time. Bad news is usually reflected in the stock market rapidly, which we have recently seen with the stock market crash. As an investor, there's always uncertainty with any investment. The main lesson of this episode is to highlight the fact that you, yes, you listening right now, you are the only one responsible for your financial situation and investment decisions during this pandemic. When we get past this pandemic, you will look back on this moment of time and reflect on the decisions that you made now that will determine your future financial situation. If you're looking to grow your stock portfolio from zero to infinity, then click that like button and maybe subscribe while you're at it. It helps this channel grow to infinity. Appreciate your support. Before we dig a bit deeper, let's listen to Bill Gates reflecting back to his TED Talk in 2015 and why people ignored his warning about what was coming.
When you gave that famous TED Talk 5 years ago, you laid out a lot of the things that we're starting to do now, like research and development on new tests and R&D on vaccines. But so many countries around the world, including the U.S. back in 2015, largely ignored your warnings. Why do you think that was?
Well, it's hard to put money into something where you don't know if it's going to happen. We do for fires because, we've seen that over time. We do for war. In fact, $600 billion a year. In that case, what would have been required, is nothing like that. The ability to make a test super quickly, the ability to know how a library of drugs that would work for this, ability to have the vaccine very quickly. I am sure after this, which is just such a gigantic impact, that we will put that money in. But between 2015 and 2020, less than 5% of what should have been done was done. But people didn't get that this is the biggest single threat that, could disrupt our way of life, which, even having predicted that as a risk, I'm really stunned at how, tough it is to go through this. The medical cost, the economic cost, the psychological cost, everybody's lives have been completely upended. And that's not just the United States, it's almost the entire world.
The world has changed at this time, which means businesses will need to make changes. With many employees working from home, there has been a boom in video conferencing platforms like Zoom Video Communications, RingCentral, and Microsoft Teams, just to name a few. This exponential adoption of online conferencing is one type of business that investors are following closely for growth potential. The importance of finding the right investments is key to building your stock portfolio for a long duration. Let's listen to Bill Gates and how his life has changed during this pandemic.
Well, I'm a lot more isolated. The meetings are on software, Microsoft Teams. I even friends that I would normally go see, we're doing video conferencing, which seems a bit unusual. There's a lot of anxiety about, how far does this go? We have employees of the foundation who feel a bit isolated, because they're just in their apartment. Some with their kids there feel like it's very crowded. So how do we help people deal with this? A lot of people are rising to the occasion, but for me, my life is just completely different. I wake up every morning and think, is this real, or was it something I had a nightmare about?
As an investor, uncertainty leads to predictions. Your predictions will be different from mine. My predictions will be different from yours. And the predictions from Bill Gates will be different from all of us. Trying to predict the stock market bottom is nearly impossible to do perfectly. We all incorporate facts and different research techniques to invest in stocks that we think will go up in value. Let's listen to Bill and his take on the economy getting back to normal. Remember, businesses need to adapt and figure out ways to move forward. If they don't figure it out, then they will get disrupted by another company.
It is fair to say things won't go back to truly normal until we have a vaccine that we've gotten out to basically the entire world. And so, the best people at the foundation who are all about high volume vaccines, are working with many manufacturers, not only on the safety and efficacy, but getting that billions of dose capacity. And so, like China, there'll be a partial opening up, which some jobs will resume, school will resume, but we'll have to be very, very careful not to have the rebound until the vaccine comes.
Here's another clip on his opinion of getting back to normal.
We will eventually get a vaccine. Even before then, if we do the right things, we'll be able to open up significant parts of the economy. And so once you're in the crisis, you're just doing your best to deal with it. I'm sure, once we get past this, we'll look back, understand what we could have done differently, and make sure that we're not letting it happen again, particularly because it could be even worse.
As mentioned, everyone has their own opinions when it comes to investing. Let's listen to Ricky Sandler and his bullish take a few weeks ago on casino stocks like MGM Resorts.
And we're going to get to the other side, and we're going to get to the other side in 3 months, in 6 months, in some reasonable period, and the government is going to be there to cushion the blow. You have stocks like MGM that have been traded down 70% on the year, and it is bouncing today, and I'm buying today because I believe this stock is going to go back to $30 a share where it was trading. And so even if it's up a bunch, it's going to triple from here. You in the fall when they reschedule conferences, when they reschedule fights, when all the men that are cooped up with their wives actually say, I want to go back to Vegas in the fall, Vegas is going to be raging. The Raiders are going to be back here in the fall. So I just think when you look out from where we are, and that's just one microcosm, there are lots of examples of big dislocations in this market right now that as we get back to normalization are stocks that can triple and quadruple.
I heard, Josh, was that you reacting to Ricky?
Since I'm a part owner of Penn National Gaming, which is in the casino industry, I enjoy listening to other investing viewpoints so I can make my own, my own conclusion when it comes to investing in the stock market for long term. You should make your own conclusions as well. When there's a bullish opinion, you always have a bearish opinion ready to battle it out. Let's listen to a contrarian reaction from Josh Brown.
Ricky, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The federal government is going to be bailing out casinos and cruise lines, or the
federal government is going to allow
the infrastructure of the
federal
country.
government is going to allow these. The federal government is going to allow these companies to lay off all their workers and put them on government payrolls. These businesses will not be shut. They'll shut down for a month. They won't have payrolls. I think landlords are going to give people extensions on rent. Industry and the government are going to come in to cushion this blow in a way that people do not understand by just putting these numbers out there and freaking out and saying my friend's not going to have a job or here's what's going to happen.
Who's to say Ricky is wrong or right? When you make a prediction, time will tell if you're right or wrong. Your stock portfolio should be a lot higher if your prediction is right and you put your money where your mouth is. Talking about putting your money where your mouth is, as I do in every episode, let's do a quick stock portfolio update. If you're new, I created this channel to consistently track, share, and document one of my stock portfolios and my journey from zero to infinity. I mark my progress in each YouTube thumbnail. Currently, we're up to a little over $3,200, which is still very small since I've only been depositing little money to show beginners everyone starts at zero and builds a stock portfolio at their own pace. The amount of deposits will ramp up as we continue on with these episodes. By the time you know it, you'll notice my thumbnail balance will be much higher in the future than it is today. To recap, I currently own stocks in Apple, Fiverr International, Penn National Gaming, and Starbucks. I have discussed my reasoning and mindset for buying these 4 stocks in previous episodes. My goal is to continue to build these positions higher and higher as we continue with these episodes. Remember, any signs of a pullback are welcomed in my opinion since I'll be able to reduce my cost basis. As always, this is not investment advice. Do your own research prior to making any investments. Remember, that's the key takeaway from this episode. Read the disclaimer on your screen fully. Remember, all opinions in this episode are mine and mine alone. I'm not a financial advisor, and this video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Maybe I didn't earn your subscription with this episode, but there's always next episode. It's free to subscribe and follow me on Instagram while you're at it. The best comment from last episode is on your screen. I appreciate your time for this episode. Thanks again for watching. Let's keep building from zero to infinity. Peace.